Hello friends, Matt here. And a while ago I made a video about the time lapse, and I had the initial run time lapse and this L2 that is the same wing shape as the prototype. And now that we're on the third iteration of the time lapse, I thought it would be interesting to take a look at all three versions. And a good friend of mine hooked me up with the brand new SE run and let me borrow his second run. So we now have the prototype, which is similar to the first production run, the second version, which is the main production run, and now the new version, which is the one that Simon is saying this is the definitive version. So I just want to take a look at all three of these guys. This one, if you might remember, was the most overstable one that I had tried so far. The glide was not incredible, but it's got a very high uniform wing, a little bit of dome, and I could throw it really far forehand, not enough glide for my backhand to do well with it. And this one is similar to the one that was the opposite for me in the video I made previously, where forehand it was hard for me to control. It was kind of all over the place, but the slightly lower wing, and it feels less blunt. It feels like a little bit sharper wing. I don't know if that's true. If we get a look at that. Yeah, get this line. Not really. There's similar bluntness, but something about it, maybe the fact that it's turned down makes it feel sharper. And then this new one has a remarkably similar profile to the prototype run, which is the one that Simon really liked. So I took him out in the field and took him out to the course at Calhoun on some of the new longer holes out there. If you're local and haven't tried it out, they took the initial 10, added 8. They're a mix of really tightly wooded and some open bomber holes, and I tested out on some of those open bomber holes as well as the field. So let's take a look at those and see what we think. Starting out with the field with like a mid-speed forehand shot with the original run here. A little bit of forced turn, dumpy fade, pretty good controllable shot in the high 300-foot range. Trying the purple one, the second run there, could not control it at all. Rolls right over on a very similar line. Wasn't sure what was going on with that one. Trying out the new special edition run, gets a little more turn than the initial one, but great distance. About 420 without much power behind it. Pretty impressive flight. Trying a backhand shot here. This hole's about 350, plays a little uphill. The original run time lapse gets out there pretty quick, but fades hard. It's just a little over 300. The second run, putting it on a very similar line, and it basically does the same thing into that headwind, but a little bit longer. Now going with that new special edition run, it gets a similar distance to the second run, but much more fade and close to the basket. Trying to push these a little further. This is a pretty long par 4 shot. Do get it out there a little bit further into this tailwind, but still kind of dumpy fade on the backhand. A little bit better shot from the second run there, and it's usable, but not quite what I was looking for. I want to be a little wider, even though the grass is tall there. And with the special edition, I don't know what it is about that disc, but it seems to be able to read what I want it to do and get it there a little bit easier. This is another par 4, trying to check up right near those big power poles. There's a ditch there, and I want to check up right before there. And that one actually goes a little past, but performs really well and still in bounds. Again, with the forehand on the second run, it just rolls around. I could not control that one on any forehands. And with this one, you can tell I don't put a lot of power on it, and it still goes exactly where I need it to in the high 3s. All right, so true to character, this one backhand, I really couldn't push it that far. It was a little over 300 feet on both the backhand throws, and the fade is kind of sharp and dumpy. The first production run, second version, this one had a little more push, a little bit more glide, but on forehands, I found it absolutely useless. This one's a little bit worn in. My buddy actually throws this one a pretty good bit. He throws it for forehands, but he doesn't throw as hard as I do, so it doesn't behave quite the same for him. I actually like the glide for backhand, but I don't think I could trust this one for my personal forehand throws, probably ever. This is interesting. I gotta say, I think they got this one right. If this is representative of all the flights, it's got the stability that I liked from the prototype run, combined with significantly more glide. I could get it a little bit further backhand. The distance was more comparable to what I was getting with this one backhand, but actually on both of the backhand throws on the course a little bit further, both into the headwind and on the tailwind side. If you couldn't tell, the first one was a headwind, the second one was a tailwind. And you're not giving up anything. You gain stability while still getting the forward push and glide. So I think they did this one right. The time lapse still feels, the very high shoulder feels a little funky to my grip personally, but I think that this is it. They got it. Good job, Simon. It's confusing to me to know which one you want to buy and everything, but for the mixture of everything that you would want in this slot of disc, this one does it better than the other two. So overall, pretty impressive. Thanks for watching, guys, and I do think that they might have finally dialed this one in.